So that gets us to something that we have never done in this podcast, but we're going to do today. We're going to read through an op-ed piece that appears in the Sacramento Bee, and it's written by a rabbi from Sacramento. I will read the headline, and Christina and I will just read about the first 5 or 6 paragraphs just to give you an idea of what this rabbi is up against, and this is a powerful piece of writing, in my estimation.
Yeah.
You can determine that for yourself. With that said, here's the headline. The hardest place to be a Jew is on an American college campus. Just look at UC Davis. This is written by Rueben H. Taft. Here's the first graph. During my 25-year tenure as a senior rabbi at the Mosaic Law Congregation in Sacramento, I told my congregants that the hardest place to be a Jew today is on an American college campus. While Israel is confronted with responding to the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust, college campuses are now the local front in this faraway conflict, and UC Davis is no exception.
The rabbi goes on to say, 2 weeks ago, Gemma DeCristo, an assistant professor of American Studies at UC Davis, posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, a message threatening, quote, Zionist journalists and their families with violence. The words she posted were hateful enough, but the emojis she included, images of drops of blood, a knife, and a hatchet, are clearly an incitement to violence.
Here's what she wrote. One group of people that we have easy access to in the U.S. is all these Zionist journalists who spread propaganda and misinformation. DeCristo posted on X just 3 days after the massacre in Israel, went on to write, they have houses with addresses, kids in school. They can fear their bosses, but they should fear us more.
He goes on to say, what is shocking is the fact that DeCristo is still employed. It appears that UC Davis has a double standard of acceptable behavior when it comes to attacking Jews. So I wrote to the UC Davis Chancellor, Gary May, and asked him, will you advocate a safe environment on college campuses for your Jewish students and faculty? Will you do the right thing and terminate DeCristo and send a message to the UC Davis students, faculty, alumni, and citizens of our community, state of California, and to the people of our nation that UC Davis will stand strong against anti-Semitism and the proliferation of hate speech?
She says that he received a reply from UC Davis Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor Mary Krugen, which said, and I quote, I can confirm I will refer this matter to the appropriate campus departments that investigate harassment, discrimination, and faculty conduct. In conclusion with legal counsel regarding First Amendment rights, she wrote, UC Davis rejects all forms of violence and discrimination, and they are antithetical to the values of our university. We strive to foster a climate of equity and justice built on mutual understanding and respect for all members of the community. Now, the rabbi goes on, and we'll conclude with this one graph. He writes in his op-ed piece, her response is typical of the obligatory acknowledgement of concern, but not the seriousness of the crisis facing Jewish students and on our college campuses. These students are feeling abandoned and marginalized.
You know, when I look at her tweet, which was posted in the article, Gemma DeCristo's tweet, and you look at it and you wonder, substitute any other group of people and there would be outrage, open outrage. Think if she had said the same thing about transgender people with hatchets and knives and drops of blood and said, you know, transgender people have houses with addresses, kids in school. They can fear their bosses, but they should fear us more. I mean, how chilling if she said that about Black people, if she said that about gay people, Hispanic people, Asian people. I mean, name a group. If this was said about that group, it would be perceived as direct threat on the lives of these people.
How she's still employed at UC Davis escapes me. And how, I mean, don't you think criminal charges can be filed here? I mean, this sounds like a threat to me. They have houses with addresses, kids in school. They can fear their bosses, but they should fear us more? I mean, that sounds like a threat.
Yeah, it does. And we'll see what UC Davis does about it. You know, I found this